Hey, if I can manage the egos of 12 neurosurgeons, I think I can manage a group of basketball players.
We've got the newest member of Arizona State women's basketball, of course, Molly Miller, the brand new head coach. Coach, we appreciate you taking some time out of your day.
Yeah, no, this is fun. I like this part of my day where I can get away from the office a little bit.
100%. Just it's got to have been in just a whirlwind for you the last couple of months. Just if you could just take us through what the last few months, I guess, have been like for you.
Well, when you get the job, there's just this immediate excitement, and then kind of that first 15 minutes of the billboard splash and the press release splash and the introductory press conference splash settles down, and then you're like, oh, I got to get a roster, I got to get a staff, I got to get a schedule going. So all that's been in the works, and the first thing, of course, was my staff. Like, that was so important to me to get people around me that were like-minded, good human beings, great basketball coaches, and I think we accomplished that.
So we've seen, obviously, when you had all your success at GCU and then you were moving on, that a lot of schools were wanting the services of Molly Miller. What was it about Arizona State that drew you here?
You know, when Charlie Turner Thorne was coaching, and I walk into our practice facility and I see Elite 8 banners, Sweet 16 banners, that's motivation for me. I'm super competitive. I believe this is a spot we can get on the national scene and win championships and cut down nets. All those are plural. And I'm really excited, and the competitive nature in me wants to do that. And I only know you can do that at a place that supports you, and specifically women's basketball. And just hearing Graham and talking to him and his vision with the athletic department, the momentum that the football's gained. I mean, Arizona State's the place to be. And so if I can get that women's basketball, that scene kind of on the rise, then I'm really excited for that challenge. But the vision of the program, the resources to the program, this is a destination. I keep on saying this is a pipeline to paradise for Arizona State, and I'm really excited to recruit here.
Where does that competitive nature come from?
I don't know. Probably we've been a sports family, and I've got 2 siblings, and we're kind of stair-stepped 2 years apart. My dad played all the sports in college. He ended up getting a football scholarship, but my mom, she's about as energetic as they come. So I think that blend of my dad's competitiveness, my mom's energy kind of set me up and teed me up to be a coach. And then just that competitive nature of playing sports your whole life. A funny story. I knew my dad knew I was pretty competitive. I was going into high school, and he said, all right, Molly, if you graduate valedictorian of your class, here's your budget, but you can go pick out any car for college that you have. So I was valedictorian in my class, driving my new car to college. And I'm sure he was like, I'm sure this isn't going to happen, but I proved him wrong.
That's incredible. So would you say you are the most competitive in the family?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, everyone's going to claim they're most competitive. So of course I'm going to claim that.
Oh my goodness. Like you mentioned Charlie Turner Thorne. She is somebody that is just an icon when it comes to Arizona State women's basketball. She was at your introductory press conference. I'm sure you've had conversations with her outside of that. Just what has that been like to be able to pick the brain of somebody that came before you and really establish this program?
Well, she has that history element, and I'm like, tell me who I need to get in contact with. And she knows dynamics, so I'm able to pick her brain on that. I had coffee with her yesterday, as a matter of fact, and even recruiting nuggets, like tell me what the sell was and what were some things that you would say. So it's really amazing to have her support, but I've got so much respect for her and what she's done for this program. I just want to make her proud.
100%.
So I think we might have glossed over Pipeline to Paradise a little too quickly, because I think we might need to get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, Graham Rossini and football and Kenny, and obviously like the fan base and Sun Devils have been just revamped to the max over the last year. It's the same way with hockey and Greg Powers as well. You were on a broadcast saying that you were cut from the same cloth. Have you had a chance to talk with Kenny, interact, and be like, oh yeah, no, we're 2 peas in a pod in that sense?
Oh yeah, I think that energy just comes natural to both of us, and we have that competitive nature in us too. But the one thing that I really like about Kenny is he's so enduring. Everyone he meets, whether it's a recruit, whether it's coaches, whether it's fans, you can just see that genuineness about him. And we were having a recruit last week, and he came around the corner on campus, and he stopped and said hello and said how amazing this place was, and took time out of his day to kind of recruit our recruit. So I think Graham's building really a network that's a team. in this coaching. We're all in this together. Only coaches really know what coaches go through on the daily. So we understand one another. So to have each other's backs, I've already felt that immediately with, our lacrosse coach was taking me around, Taryn was taking me around campus on a Sunday before I had an official visit the first Sunday I was here because I didn't know where anything was at. So I had to do an official visit myself. So one of the coaches hosted me. So that really team mentality has been just a breath of fresh air at Arizona State.
I'm curious, you've brought up the recruiting visits, and obviously this roster is going to look pretty different than it did last season, but that seems to be every single year for every single basketball program. How has this recruiting cycle been different for you? And then just what is the type of DNA of the player that you're looking for at Arizona State?
Yeah, well, there's kind of some non-negotiables, and you've got to have a motor to play in our system. You can't come out and be lackadaisical or passive. You've got to have this energy and this passion and play hard. And one of my peers, I think it's one of the best compliments I get when they ask, how do you get your kids to play so hard? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we just do this in practice. Every single day we're playing hard. We replicate game-like intensity in daily practices. So that's something that we look for off the bat. If they've got that kind of pep in their step, that bounce that would really fit our culture and our system. And we comb through the portal, but then we're not just looking at stats and maybe the best players. We're looking at fit. So what my staff and I have done a really good job of is pulling up film and seeing if they're really going to mesh with our style and the brand. So that's something that we do very, very soon in the recruiting process, is just make sure that, hey, we pull them up on the screen, we watch their game a little bit, and make sure that it's going to be a good fit on both sides.
Yeah. If you could describe the DNA of an Arizona State Sun Devil women's basketball player under Molly Miller in like a sentence, what would it be?
They will be relentless on the court.
Relentless on the court. I like it. Kind of like you here.
I mean, yeah, just every single day. Right.
I mean, really, their energy will be relentless. Their effort will be relentless. I mean, they're going to be relentless in the pursuit of excellence. And it's going to go beyond the court. And I know this is more than one sentence, but I'm going to expand a little bit. Like, we want to be champions on the court, but we want to be champions off the court in everything we do. We want to be elite in the classroom, in the community. So you're going to see that from our players. I think everyone will be really proud of who we bring in here to represent Sun Devil Nation. How
does a coaching staff get that out of players? Like, what role do you play? Because I know it's got to be in their DNA, but you also got to find somebody that can get the most out of them.
Yeah, a couple of things. Kids these days want coaches that can form relationships and be reliable. And I've felt that, and I've seen what you can do when you've got these kids back. You help them grow. You help them achieve their goals. They'll run through a brick wall for you. And I would do the same for them. And then the flip side of that is you got to model the behavior. How can I ask for someone to have energy and passion and good body language and a good attitude if I don't show up with that same thing every single day? So I'm going to come in the gym. I'm going to have a great attitude. I'm going to push them, but I'm going to push myself to give energy and give effort and be the best version of myself for those kids.
Is this something that, again, you want somebody that has a motor? You mentioned the tape. It's not necessarily all stats based, but you want a good person too. Mm-hmm. Are these the types of things that you can see just boom from like one visit, one conversation, or does it take the entirety of a visit? Does it take, phone calls, that type of stuff to really be like, okay, this person fits what we're trying to build?
Well, portal recruiting is pretty speedy. So you've got to figure out, turn over a couple more stones than maybe a typical longevity of a high school recruit where you've got years to really get to know them. So when you're portal recruiting, what we like to do is rely on a lot of touch points of who they've interacted with in the past, whether it's a past AAU coach, a past college coach, a past school teacher, whatever it may be, whoever's kind of close to them and knows them as a person. We do a good job of not just connecting with the athlete, but every touch point that they've had maybe in their life. And that's been a really good thing for us to kind of get the whole picture of who they are pretty quickly.
College sports has changed a lot in the last couple of years. And as somebody who, played college sports, has now coached at so many different levels, are you surprised at all at kind of where everything stands right now?
Yeah, I am totally surprised. I never thought that we would kind of be in this landscape that's ever changing, but the best ability as a coach right now is adaptability. And for us, we've got to be able to change with the times, understand the dynamic, how you're able to succeed in this dynamic. Retention's really important. So good culture is important. Relationships are important, which that's why you coach anyway. I mean, I wouldn't tell you that coaches do this just for drawn up an X's and O's play on a board and go board to court. We do this for the relationship piece. And that growth is probably the most gratifying thing for me to see as you watch them come in, is that they're just babies as freshmen. And then all of a sudden they're spreading their wings into the real world in 4 to 5 years, and they're growing. And that maturity level, that experience, that growth is for a coach. That is the most fun thing to see. And so a lot's changed, but that hasn't for me, that relationship piece.
What do you feel like you've grown as like the most over your time as a coach and through these so many changing parts in the NCAA?
That's a good question. I think I became a better, I've said this before, I became a better coach when I became a mom. And I think I was more like hardcore and all business like in my early days of coaching. I had a competitive nature. But now, like, I can reflect, like, if they are my daughters, they're my basketball daughters. And Crosby, my biological daughter, I always put her in their shoes. Like, how would I want someone to treat Crosby? How would I want someone to help Crosby grow, to push them outside of their comfort zone, but love on them on the same time? So I think just that you never know like what that really means until you become a parent and have your own kids. In my experience, it's been the best blessing for me to trickle that down into my profession.
100%. For you, again, going into year one here, you have won everywhere that you have gone. Last year, I believe, 30 straight games. The years before that, I don't think you've had a season at the helm where your team has lost more than 10 games in a season. At the position that you're at now, I'd like you to go back, envision yourself when you were playing college basketball. What would that version of Molly Miller think about this version of Molly Miller?
I think she would have not believed that I was going to be in this coaching position. And I'm so fortunate, life takes funny turns, but I went into the corporate world after I graduated, and I loved basketball. I had a high basketball IQ. I was a point guard. I was a coach's kid. I just didn't know why I kind of turned into the corporate world. I got my MBA and had a phenomenal opportunity in front of me. But then when I got the opportunity to coach, I took a pay cut. But then I was like, I can't go back to the corporate world. This is amazing. So it would have been unexpected, but I'm very grateful. And to look back, there were some tough times in my career where I had some coaching changes. So in high school, I played for 2 coaches. In college, I played for 2 coaches. And at the time, you're like, there's not consistency for me. This isn't ideal. But it really was ideal because I took a little part from each one of those coaches. Good, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I could change. And that's helped me become the coach I am today. So, even those things that you think are bad luck can really make a positive impact on your future. And I've had that experience.
What's something you didn't like from some of the coaches you've had? You don't have to name names, but what's one thing you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that?
Long practices. When I was going on hour 4, which thank goodness there's some rules. I'm like, okay, as a player, you've lost me at hour 2.5, So our practices are very efficient. We go really, really hard, but we don't go super long. So that's something I've taken. But I have a lot of good things from the coaches that have coached me before. But efficiency, some have been really, really, really organized. Others, you're like, when are we going to, what's the calendar look like tomorrow? So we try to be really, really organized in our program. And some of that's feedback, not necessarily from my past coaches, but just from players. I always ask, like, what'd you like from the program before? What'd you didn't like? I just want to be the best for them. And some things they're not going to like how we do. I call it fork time, and we're 10 minutes before scheduled time. That's on time. If you're on time, you're late. So I'm sure some of them kind of roll their eyes when practice, starts at 1, but we expect you to roll in at 12:50, start getting yourself ready. But I think those things are life lessons too that they might not like in the time, but further later in life, they'll appreciate it.
100%. Like I want to quickly go back to you after college. You said you went into the corporate world, 4 years as a marketing director for Springfield Neurological and Spine Institute. What would you say you took away from that job or your time in that job that has made you a better basketball coach?
Hey, if I can manage the egos of 12 neurosurgeons, I think I can manage a group of basketball players. No, they were great humans. They were awesome. I really enjoyed my time, but I had to juggle a lot. You know, I'm juggling a lot right now. I had to do marketing. I had to do PR, reconcile a budget, figure out how to like get them as a team and a brand to work together. So it really did trickle down, and I think it helped me for what I'm doing now.
So when I asked about what you've learned over the years, I think also over the years with women's basketball, we've seen like this, rightfully so, just boom, especially over the last 5, especially in college women's basketball, and now that carrying over to the W. What does that mean to you personally as somebody who's dedicated so much of their life to this game to see it finally get closer to the stage that it deserves?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great brand. I mean, the way we share the ball, I just think that the women's game is so fun to watch. And now you have players that are staying at the collegiate level for a longer period of time, which I think is a little different from the men's game. You know, they'll declare for the draft 2 years after they're in college, 3 years. So I think fans can really find athletes that they really want to cheer for and root for and get behind, and they can see that growth through college. And I think that's helped the growth of our game. And I think that's a really been special. You know, you look at Caitlin Clark and now how Iowa, where she took them, and Juju Watkins, and some of those names, Paige Beckers, that's really spotlighted the women's game, but then it's opened up opportunities for others to kind of do that same thing. And I just think that trickle down effect has really been able to help the fan engagement with women's basketball.
Is there anybody whose game that you watched you're like, I kind of played like them?
Just name any 5'6" scrappy point guard who likes to play defense, and that would be me.
Oh man! On the same token of the growth of the sport, obviously the women's Final Four in the Valley here this year. Just what do you think that can do to continue that growth and really just elevate how the community appreciates women's basketball?
I mean, this is a great sports city. And so if we can kind of rally around when it's here, the women's game, make it the most attended Final Four, put a lot of like the marketing behind it. There's so many platforms here in Phoenix in terms of reporting and marketing and journalism. And if we can find those stories, that's, I think, what the fans like in women's basketball is kind of those heartstring stories with players, with teams. And I think it's a great opportunity for Arizona State as kind of one of those host schools to be involved, put a spotlight on what we're doing. And so I'm so excited to be a part of that. And I told her I'm willing and able to go anywhere, do anything, do any sort of promotions. Like, I think we can blow this thing up next year, and it's going to be really exciting.
Be involved as in
hey, that's the goal. If it comes year 1, I'm not going to complain.
I love it. I love it. Look, again, we mentioned kind of off the top, you are still relatively new to the Arizona State community. So something that we like to do, stray off the beaten path just a little bit, ask some more out there questions. And I'm going to start with a totally random one that Shane over here has asked for as long as I have been on this show for 3+ years. We've asked Kenny, we've asked Bobby, we've asked everybody. What do you think is the largest animal that you could kill with a sword?
With a sword?
With a sword.
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like a bear.
Bear.
Yeah.
Wow.
That might be the most confident answer of anybody.
Hold on. What type of bear? Big distinction.
See, I don't know the size difference, but there's probably not many bears in Arizona. Whichever one would reside close to the desert.
That's fair. That's 100%
Maybe I'm
fair.
picking bear because I don't think I'm going to run into one in the desert.
Oh man, what did Kenny we had one of the ASU football players on a couple weeks ago. They said an elephant or a lion.
Yeah.
Kanye?
Yeah, Kanye said I think a lion.
Yeah, he said a lion, which pound for pound isn't even. I don't want to get into it.
he gets really.
The correct answer is a cow.
It is. It's the boring answer.
But
it's
the boring answer. We like to ask this question because we get hippopotamus, which then I can throw back at them that the hippopotamus is one of the only creatures in the world that'll kill a human and not eat it.
Yeah,
because they're very vicious and nasty. So that's not happening. People say rhinos. Come on.
Did Kenny say giraffe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They're too fast for Kenny.
Yeah. They're
I
too
need
fast
to do
specifically for Kenny?
Yeah. We've seen Kenny run. Come on.
I feel like I could sneak up on a bear. It could be stealth-like.
Definitely the most competitive in the family. Have to be.
She's talking herself into it. She's like, any bear.
do it.
Honestly.
It's fine.
Put me in the jungle. I'm not a gorilla by myself.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome. Look, another big thing that we have had the opportunity to ask a bunch of different coaches. We always get just random answers. Like we found out Bobby Hurley doesn't eat at all on game days. So I'm curious, as a former player, as a current coach, do you have any pregame rituals that you have, or are you superstitious in any certain way?
No, I have the best assistants, and usually one of them will show up with a chai tea latte. That's my go-to. I don't drink coffee. Like, this stuff runs through my veins naturally. But I do like a chai tea. So usually that's a nice comfort drink for me in the morning game day. But I try to be very just calm, so save my energy for the game. And I'll watch some game film. I'll go over scout, make sure I know all the prep in my mind. Then I'll take a moment to myself, and sit kind of in meditation, prayer, and read my Bible. And then it's go time.
Same way as a player, or has that evolved over time?
It's definitely evolved. I've evolved a lot in just my faith and my understanding of a bigger purpose and servanthood. And I think you naturally do that when you get older. And I am in this place of servant mentality in my life. And I don't know if I could have said that at 18 years old.
You're like, I'm going to lock him up.
Yeah.
I'm getting into it. I can't calm down the entire day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love it. You brought up the chai tea latte, and that kind of fits perfectly into the next question we have. We want to do a start bench cut with you.
Oh, okay.
Really quick. So start bench cut, chai tea latte, basketball, and air conditioning.
Okay, I've got to start with basketball. I'm going to have to, am I in Arizona with the air conditioning
Yeah.
question? Then I have to bench AC and I have to cut the chai because I don't need the caffeine.
Wow.
And it's a pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure. So air conditioning and basketball is a necessity.
That's fair. That's 100%
Basketball without the air conditioning. Talk about brutal
Right.
practices.
No.
It's a 15-minute one.
Yes.
Especially those 4-hour ones that you were talking
No,
about
no.
earlier. That would be tough. That would be tough. I do want to get to hot or not. So kind of explained it a little bit earlier. Just 3 really, really random topics
Okay.
from Shane here, who is the best at just throwing randomness at a wall and seeing if it sticks. So Shane,
It
what do we
doesn't have
got?
to stick.
You're right. It doesn't have to.
No.
stick.
It just has to be
I
thrown.
actually prefer that it doesn't stick.
Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it
100%.
can go through the wall.
Okay.
First topic, something that's kind of taken over food reviewers: tinned fish. Hot or not?
Tinned fish?
Yeah, like tinned
Like you opened
anchovies. But like,
thing that you
Oh.
ran around the office trying to get people to eat like 2 weeks ago.
well, we did eat them here.
I did.
Has that taken over?
Yeah.
I feel like that might be like a your TikTok
It's
feed
gotten a
kind
little
of
pop.
thing.
No, it's great. It's fantastic.
Tinned fish.
So before we do this, before we
gotta
just-
preface it.
before
Flavor
we-
for the tinned fish.
no, just before we shoot it down immediately, like don't think anchovies and sardines because those are like the more
Nasty.
like not nasty.
No, I heard
invasive
sardines is like the best brain food out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we have
yeah.
to include that.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
probably the only one I would eat just to
Okay.
think it would make me
But
smarter.
recently, from an unnamed no free ads small grocery store that everyone goes to, they have started selling tinned fish, and I got calamari and olive oil. Unbelievable. Had it last night. So
tinned fish, hot or not?
take that with what you will.
With all that in mind, I'm gonna say not hot. It's not something that I crave, or the brain food is fine. I'll find a different brain food. I'll eat some sort of other superfood. Give me some spinach and kale or something. over some tinned
Clearly, you
fish.
need more.
Yeah. Maybe if I were to eat some of the tinned fish, I'd be more open to the idea of tinned
Yeah.
fish. But no, I'm good on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not hot on the tinned fish. If I'm gonna eat fish, it's sushi. Like I'm fine with sushi. We could do just regular salmon, tuna, whatever. But you put it in a can, it's got all the juices.
It's not in the can.
It's a tin.
My bad. It's in a tin. Yeah, I just can't. I can't get on board with
Yeah,
that.
3 for 3, not hot. But there is a window there where you can convince me if you have me try the olive oil caviar
Calamari.
calamari.
I'm not that fancy.
Okay, next time we'll just get
Next-
an array of tinned fish, and we'll do a
Yeah.
taste test of
If you
tinned
were here
fish.
2 weeks ago, we did a taste test throughout all of the office. Most people said, not too bad. Leah in there was gagging before she even tried it, and then she was like, it's not that bad.
What do you like? Like the taste is good?
No, dude, I like
Well,
the.
I don't know.
Yes.
She said like the brain food part of it. Like,
yes, it tastes great. And
Great.
you know what else? You know
Here
what
we
else?
go.
You know what else they started doing?
Oh no.
The marketability of it.
Who's
the,
they?
Big
Fish?
Big Ten.
Big
Fish.
Ten.
Big Tins. They've started to market the tins, and they're really cool looking. Let it happen. It's very trendy right now. Okay.
All right. We heard it here first.
Yeah.
I did.
Don't come crawling back to me when you want to do some tin fish thing and
Okay.
on the podcast.
yeah.
Next topic, sporks. I don't know.
Sporks.
I don't even get sporks. I
Yeah,
mean, come on.
totally. Is
Yeah.
this even a real
Efficiency.
question?
Yeah, it's the
I
best
feel
of
like
both
we
worlds.
underuse sporks.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wish I saw more like non-plastic sporks.
Okay, what about sporks? Like that's all you get in the pack of like plastic.
That's
thing?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I'm
Is
a-
there like a spork with like a serrated edge? It's like a knife too.
Sporks.
A spork knife.
Spork.
Because that would be like all-time
No,
levels of
it's
efficiency.
spork, but there's an N after the K that's silent.
Mm.
Okay.
I love a good 2-for-1. We
Yeah.
do. Mine's like you gotta, 50 seconds on the clock, 2-for-1. You get 2 shots and they get 1, but 2-for-1 spork. I like it.
Yeah, that's 2-for-1. It's a
That's
good.
like you're
It's
a
a
basketball
two-way-
coach.
I know,
'cause
my
you took
basketball
sport
one.
and put it into
It's a
2-for-1
it's a
with
two-way
50 seconds
player.
left on the
It's a
clock.
two-way player.
It's a great end of game tool.
Yes,
Mm.
see,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, is a spork like a 3-and-D player? Is it a guard?
Ooh.
No,
It's positionless.
Yeah,
It's multi-tool.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I like
Alyssa
it.
Thomas thing.
Okay.
Last one, horror movies. I don't know.
Nope. I can go on this one. Definitely no.
Is there like a horror movie that like comes to mind?
I don't
that,
watch them,
that
so
cemented
no,
that?
I don't watch them.
You've never watched a horror
No,
movie?
The Sixth Sense got me. That was the biggest horror movie that I've seen. So no,
Oh,
I will
man.
jump out of my seat, and I don't like feeling that. Who wants to feel that all the on
My
edge?
wife, she gets upset at me because we watch things other than horror movies. I've grown on them. I think if there's like a good story in it, not just like get scared to get scared, like the ones that are like the whole purpose of this is just to throw out jump scares. I'm
Yeah,
out
But
on
like
that.
Sinners that just came out.
I haven't watched Sinners. I want to.
Ooh.
Like good storytelling horror movies, hot. Horror movies that are just cheap jump scares, not.
I just hate the jump scare feeling.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
So not.
I'm gonna say not.
Okay.
hot.
So since we were a little less divisive on these, I'll
Since we're
throw,
on the same team here.
I'll throw in one more.
Okay.
Like
Sporks.
analytic culture in sports.
Ooh. Interested to hear your take.
Yeah.
I'm a touch and feel person, but I also like the analytics. So,
Have you feel like we've gone too far in one direction?
yeah, maybe a little bit, and I think you can ruin some confidence too. But what did I just say at the beginning of the show? What drives me is like a motor. Like, how do
Yeah.
you really look at the analytics and look at the motor and the energy and the work and the time put in outside the required hours? Like, I think all that has to play in. So, maybe a tweener, but I think I'm more of a feel person.
Rubus?
It's tough because the tweener thing is the correct take. Where like, especially if somebody who like covers sports and like covers basketball specifically, where we've gone so far into it, anybody who completely ignores them, I'm like, eh. And anybody who's just like, no, I've watched that person, but this is what the numbers say. And the numbers say something different. I'm gonna say hot because you can take parts of it and put it into your perspective and have better takes. So I'd rather have some analytics there than just watching, but it can go way too far in the other direction.
I'm torn here. I want to say not hot. Like a big like.
You just love
You're
ball.
you're a big run the damn ball guy.
Yeah, like
let's
I'm
go.
just I'm like it's a gut feeling type of thing. Like and yeah, for football's sake, it's 4th and 1. Analytics tell you something. Like if your guys are playing well, if you're seeing the field well, if they are, like just run it, go. Like let's do it. Like I'm here for that. I think I'm kind of with you. Like analytic culture, I feel like sometimes has gotten like too far of like we're missing maybe not the point, but the mark just a little bit. So.
I like what we have a Sun show here. My co-host Steven goes, I watch the game and then I have my eye test and then I'll go and I'll look at the numbers to see if what I'm seeing can be backed up in that way too, but not the other way around where I'm going and looking at the box scores and the analytics and the numbers and then I'm going to watch. Like I just feel like the process has to be there.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and you kind of brought that up too when we were talking about like the transfer portal and the recruiting and like there's so much that goes into it, but it's so far beyond just like a box score, right? It doesn't ever tell the full story.
Yeah, totally. You have to have both to be successful, I think is what we're all getting at here.
Way to bring it home.
So Molly, hot or not?
Not, and I'm thinking as you guys are talking too, because like foul up 3, statistically they're saying do that. But like, let's say my post players fouled out and we are they're an awesome offensive rebounding team and we haven't been rebounding well that game. So the chances of them getting an offensive board are really high. Then I'm not going to foul up 3. I'm going to trust my defense. So I think situational, I'd go on feel. I think from a big, broad perspective, the analytics are really good.
Love it. Glad we could get back on the same. Or what are you? Are you hot or not on that?
I would probably lean toward hot. I'm a big foul up 3 person. I don't really care. But there's a reason why I'm sitting in a chair podcasting.
Talking about tin fish.
Yeah, talking about tin fish. And enjoying tin fish.
There you go.
Yeah, I would probably lean toward hot.
Goodness gracious, Coach! Before we get you out of here, I think the Arizona State community has definitely welcomed you. They're really, really excited for what's to come beyond this season as well. What would your message to Sun Devil Nation be with still a couple months before the season actually gets started?
Yeah, I would say we're accessible and available. Come see us. Come see us before season starts. We'll have some open practices. Get to know our players. They're going to be awesome human beings, really good basketball players. You're going to see that family atmosphere. But I bet they'll be hooked once they come watch a game because we play such a fun, intense style that you can't help but enjoy what the product out there on the floor is. So if they just get a little taste, I think they'll be hooked. So come watch us. It'll be a fun year. And I want to embrace everyone too. So I'm a coach that wants to welcome everyone in. I won't be hiding in the shadows. Like if you see me out and about, introduce yourself, and open invite to Sun Devil women's basketball this year.
We all silly like the mayor.